Here's something that I hear every week from surface industry business owners. They say, Justin, I've got a pretty good team, but I'm still the one that's putting out fires, fixing mistakes, dealing with client issues, making sure that nothing slips. I'm the glue still holding this business together. If you hear that and that sounds familiar, if you're somebody that's delegating, but you're finding yourself still stuck in the weeds. And despite having built a pretty solid team and you're fairly successful, it still feels like your business is duct taped together or hanging on by a thread. You've got jobs that things are falling through the cracks on. And because of that, you're having to deal with more callbacks than you should, or clients aren't getting the updates and proactive communications that they should get. Or maybe it's your sales team and they send out quotes and they don't follow up with them. And if you find yourself having to double check far too much before it goes out, and worst of all, if something does go wrong, you're thinking like, why didn't anybody catch this? This is obvious. Or what so often happens is you just jump in there and just go, oh, I'll save the day. I'll fix this, or I'll just do it myself so it's done right. All of these symptoms, all of these problems aren't actually people problems. They're not usually a work ethic problem if you've got the right people, right? Obviously, if you've just made some bad hires, then that's a whole different problem. But if you've got good people on the team and you're having these problems, then this is a systems problem because your business doesn't actually have a true operating system. And I'm not talking about a fancy software, not talking about a dusty stack of SOPs in a binder that nobody's ever going to look at, or the digital version of that where it's sitting in Google Drive or Dropbox. I'm talking about a real operating system, one that allows your business to operate smoothly day in and day out without you having to be the one that makes sure that everything happens right. Or even a manager, right? If you've scaled to that point where you've got a management team, a true operating system will allow the business to run at a high level, regardless of who's at the driver's seat. We call this the company OS for short, or company operating system. And it's one of the 7 core systems in the growth engine. Now, if you want your business to be able to scale without falling apart when you step back, then this is the backbone of making that all possible. Now, let's get into breaking it down. I'm going to share with you the 3 pillars of a real company operating system. Number 1, the first pillar is communication. So often this is overlooked. How do we communicate as a team? How do we communicate with our clients? And you might think, interesting, like is that something we can systemize? It is. Far too often, that's where so many things in the business break down because in disguise, it's inefficient communication. The song by Led Zeppelin, right? Communication breakdown, I think it is. That's what's happening. And because of that, so many other problems in the business show up. It has a rippling effect. A real company operating system gives you structured communication systems. On the internal side, how do we meet as a team? What channels do we use to communicate and for what purpose? How do we escalate issues and to who? How much time should we take in responding to something? When should team members not be interrupted, right? So that we can focus on what's important. Unstructured, inefficient communication creates a lot of chaos in the business, from everything to people sending email after email of what could have been a 30-second voice note in Slack, for example, as a communication channel, or all of those drive-by meetings that stop by your office. Hey, do you got a second? Totally derailing your ability to focus on driving sales, helping a customer with something. All of those things are part of the inefficiencies of communication that cause so many problems in a company. Now, on the flip side, externally, you want to have a structure for how you communicate with your clients and your customers. Because if you don't have one, then it's happening by default. And when it happens by default, you're at the whims of your customers' needs. And what happens is your own business doesn't come first. Now, I know people are thinking, well, the customer should always come first. Not if you're trying to build a systemized business that can scale sustainably and really thrive. You've got to put the business first. And your customers, you need to educate them. You need to set up expectations on how you communicate through what channels and when, so that you're not constantly being pulled in every direction. And again, at the whims of their needs. That's critical to being in the driver's seat of your business and also to really streamline everything. And this is really what makes your business legitimate, right? It feels really dialed into your clients and everything will flow smoothly internally with your team. Without this, there's going to be a lot more chaos and you're going to find yourself constantly in reactive mode versus proactive. And so that's the big shift that our clients experience when they install communication systems. From there, everything can begin to be streamlined. Now, pillar number 2 is you need to have execution systems that create consistency and predictable results. Now, that is where SOPs come into play, but they're just a small piece of the puzzle. What you really need to do is you need to map all of the functions and the workflows in your business. And we have a whole process on that we take our clients through. And in future episodes, I'm sure I'll break that down for you guys. But what's important is really understanding how you execute and deliver value to your customers, making sure you've mapped that all. You understand all the handoffs between departments and team members, and you've got playbooks built for all of the different functions of the business. What does that mean? What is a playbook? A playbook is, yes, an SOP, but it's also the training material that you need to hire and onboard somebody or cross train somebody, and then the checklist for execution. When we have our clients design their playbooks, you then assign ownership to a team member. They're no longer just executing a task, they have ownership of an outcome. And that's a big shift. And the checklists within the playbooks are the steps they follow to ensure they get a predictable result. And so often, companies will create SOPs, feel like they've systemized things, but then their team operates based on memory and habit. And that's where you get unpredictable results and inconsistency, right? It's like pilots that have 10,000 hours of seat time in the air still follow a checklist so that when they take off and they're supposed to land in Las Vegas, they don't land in Los Angeles, right? No matter how many hours they have as a captain pilot, they still follow the checklist to ensure they get a predictable outcome. And that's what your team needs to do every time they execute something in the business. Because without execution systems, your team sort of knows what to do. And because of that, you're going to get sort of consistent results, right? These execution systems turn your expectations as a business owner into repeatable actions for your team, right? So that's pillar number 2. Now, pillar number 3 is you need to have performance systems that drive accountability. Now, while it's great to have playbooks in place, you've got the checklists in place, you don't want to micromanage people. You don't want to be double checking their work. You want to be able to see that everybody is on track and executing at the level that they're expected to. So if we go back to pillar number 2, when I talk about playbooks and having an execution system, each one of those playbooks that a team member has ownership of, you need to quantify how you measure what matters. How do you measure that they're getting the right outcome? And you establish these metrics. From there, your third pillar is how do you create that level of visibility? We do that in a couple of ways. You need to assign ownership that can be of an outcome and have it be measured. And we do that through scorecards and end of day reports, for example. And then you need to have a cycle of review so that you can spot the areas of the business where team members are not producing the outcomes at the level that they should. And this is what allows you to manage by outcome instead of micromanaging by activity. All right. So just to recap that, you need to have company, department, and employee level scorecards with clear metrics and KPIs, key performance indicators. and then a rhythms for review and course correction. And this is where everyone knows what success looks like, what it means to be on track and executing at the level that they're expected to, and that you've got the tools to stay there so that your business can truly begin to run without you. So, guys, just to land the plane here, if you're tired of feeling like you personally have to hold the business together, then you need to start installing a real company OS. SOPs are just the beginning. You need a system that's going to bring them to life and ensure that everything can run without your constant oversight. So, this is just one of the 7 core systems of the growth engine and our method to help surface industry companies scale with clarity and confidence. And if you want help installing this in your business, then head over to our website at drivenforgrowth.co and you can book a call with our team so that we can chat about the impact that this would have for your business and if it's the right fit. Otherwise, guys, check out the links in the show notes or the descriptions because we include free resources and tools to help you on your journey to take your business to its peak potential. Until then, guys, stay driven for growth.